You hatch from an egg, somewhere in northern Australia, and before you've even fully pulled yourself free, the shell around you is already cracking open on all sides as dozens of your siblings claw their way out at the same time. Your mother is there at the nest, and she picks you up in her jaws and carries you down toward the water, holding you carefully while the rest of your siblings tumble and scramble behind her through the grass. She lowers her head at the bank and lets you drop into the shallows, then goes back for the others. Then a shadow crosses the water above you. A heron drops from above with its beak driving straight down, and it snatches one of your siblings right off the surface and lifts back into the air before anyone can react. You push yourself under the surface and press against the muddy bank, staying completely still with your legs tucked in. A moment later, a large monitor lizard moves along the edge of the bank, its tongue pushing forward as it works its way through the group, picking off the hatchlings that are still out in the open. You stay under, not moving, until it passes. When you finally come back up, most of your siblings are gone. Your mother is still in the water nearby, but she doesn't gather you or steer you anywhere. You're on your own now. You need somewhere safe to hide, so you push along the bank until you find a gap in the reeds thick enough to cover your body, and you pull yourself in and go still. Out on the surface, a few of your remaining siblings are still moving in the open water. One more doesn't make it before the light begins to drop. You stay in the reeds and wait. Tomorrow, everything out there will still be trying to find you. You're a few months old now, and you've claimed a narrow stretch of the bank between two large tree roots as your own, spending your days lying half-submerged at the edge with your eyes just above the surface, watching for anything small enough to catch. Frogs are the easiest, and you've learned to wait for them to come to the water's edge rather than chasing them because chasing wastes energy and usually fails. Then one afternoon, a juvenile crocodile, bigger than you by nearly half, moves into your stretch of bank and drops into the water without any hesitation, like the space already belongs to it. You hold your position, watching it circle the same spot you've been using, and when a frog lands at the edge, it lunges before you even get the chance to move. It swallows it whole and then just hangs there in your water, not leaving. You pull back into the roots and wait. The bigger one eventually stops paying attention to the bank and floats out toward the middle, so you circle wide and come back along the opposite edge, staying low with your legs pushing slowly through the mud. Another frog drops onto a root just above the surface, and you angle in from the side rather than straight on, getting your body parallel to the bank before you push forward and snap. It's in your mouth before the bigger one even turns around. You pull back into the roots to swallow it. The bigger one will keep coming back to this stretch of bank, and one day it will be too large to ignore. But for now, you've learned that waiting and choosing your angle gets you more than rushing ever will. You're 2 years old now, and you've grown long enough that frogs no longer fill you up, so you've started watching the birds that wait along the shallows in the early part of the day. They're harder to catch because they stand above the surface and can see movement in the water. But you've been watching how they move, and you've started to understand that they stop looking when they're focused on something below them. You pick one out, a large wading bird working its way along the edge about 10 body lengths away, and you sink until only your eyes are above the surface and begin moving toward it, letting the current carry you part of the way so your legs stay still. You get close enough that you can see its feet on the bottom, and then you launch. But you go a fraction too early, and it throws itself sideways with its wings opening wide, and your jaws snap shut on nothing but water. It lifts into the air and circles away, so you reset. You pull back and find a different bird further down the bank and begin again, this time pushing yourself even slower through the last few body lengths, keeping every movement underneath the surface. There are deep claw marks dug into it, and a strong marking left by something much larger than your mother. That's your first large kill, but before you can begin pulling it apart, a much bigger crocodile comes off the bank and into the water, moving straight toward you without slowing. It's 4 times your size, and when it reaches the bird, it simply takes it from your mouth and pulls it away. You back off and watch it feed. You're not big enough to hold anything yet, but you will be. You're 5 years old now, and you've grown large enough that most things along the river give way when you move through. One morning you follow the current as it pushes toward the river mouth, driven by the pull of open water, and you keep going, past the point where the river widens and the banks fall away, and then you're out in open ocean for the first time, riding a current between 2 islands with your legs sweeping slowly beneath you. Halfway through the crossing, a bull shark comes up from below and moves alongside you, close enough that its body nearly brushes yours. It circles once, pulling wide, then comes back tighter. You hold your line, keeping your legs moving at the same pace, and turn your head to track it as it cuts underneath you and comes back up on the other side. It makes 3 more passes, each one a little closer, and on the last one it pulls within a body length before turning away and dropping back into the water below. You keep moving, and after a long time in open water, the bottom starts to rise again and you reach the far bank, pulling yourself up onto a mudflat and lying still with your legs spread out. You've just crossed open ocean. Your kind does this to spread across coastlines and islands, riding currents for days at a time to reach places no other large predator from the river ever goes. But the ocean belongs to other things, and that shark made that clear. You came through this time. The next crossing might go differently. You're 12 years old now, and you are the largest animal along your stretch of river. One afternoon, a wild boar comes down to the bank to drink, stepping into the shallows with its head dropping toward the surface, and you're already there, lying on the bottom with your legs tucked flat and your body completely still. Your sibling leaves in one direction, and after waiting a while longer, you go the other way. Your jaws close around its front leg and you pull hard, dragging it off its feet and into the water before it can dig in. Then you roll. The roll takes all of its weight with you, spinning it over and over until it stops pulling against you, and then you hold it under and wait. That's how a death roll works. Your whole body twisting at once so that nothing can brace against you. Then a large male crocodile comes off the far bank and into the water, making straight for the boar. He's close to your size, maybe a little longer, and he gets his jaws into the carcass on the other side and pulls. You pull back, locking your legs against the bottom, but he twists and slams his body into yours, knocking you sideways and tearing a long wound across your side in the process. You spin back and drive your head into his, and the two of you wrench the carcass back and forth across the shallows, tearing it apart between you until he finally pulls free with the larger half and drags it up the far bank. You stay in the water with what's left. You eat everything you can get to and stay on the sandbar afterward. But the kill was yours, and every animal on this river saw it. You're 20 years old now, and your size alone is enough to clear most of the river. One afternoon, a female crosses into your stretch of water and stays there, moving along the bank without leaving, and something in the way she holds her position tells you she's not passing through. You start circling her, wide at first, lifting your head and pushing water forward with your body as you go. She doesn't move away, so you come in closer and push your head toward hers along the surface, pressing forward slowly with your jaws, just above the water. She holds still and lets you get alongside her. The two of you stay parallel for a while, then she drops slightly below you and you move with her. And that's how it happens, simple and quick, with no chasing and no fighting. A few weeks later, she builds a nest from leaves and mud above the bank and lays her eggs inside it. And she stays there guarding it every day while you hold the water around it, pushing away anything that moves toward that stretch of bank. Other crocodiles don't come close. One large monitor lizard tries the bank early on, and you come out of the water faster than it expects, and it doesn't come back. When the eggs hatch, you hear the calls from inside the nest, and the two of you carry the hatchlings down to the water in your jaws, setting them into the shallows the same way your own mother once did. You watch them spread out along the surface. Most of them won't last the week, but some of them will learn what you learned, and a few of those will still be here long after you are gone. You're 40 years old now, and a younger male has been pushing into the lower end of your stretch of river for several weeks, each time coming a little further before turning back. One morning, he doesn't turn back. He comes straight up the middle of the river, with his head above the surface and his body pushing a wide line of water forward, and you come off the bank and into the water to meet him. The two of you circle each other once, close enough that your tails are nearly touching, and then he drives forward and gets his jaws around the back of your head. You twist hard, pulling your head down and rolling your whole body sideways so that his grip breaks. Then you come back up and slam your head into his side with your jaws open, catching him just behind the front leg and locking on. He thrashes and rolls to break the grip, and the two of you spin through the shallows and up onto the bank, knocking into the roots and slamming back into the water. He tears free and pulls back to the middle of the river, and you both hold your positions, facing each other with your mouths open. Over the next 2 days, you move closer each time she stops, and you've held the territory, but your jaw is torn open on one side, and when you pull yourself onto the bank, you can see the wound running from the corner of your mouth backward along your face. You lie on the bank for a long time, staying out of the water. The lower end of your stretch is gone, and the boundary sits closer than it ever has. The next challenge won't be long in coming. You're 70 years old now, and you are enormous, longer than most of the logs that drift down your river, and nothing in this water has challenged you in years. One afternoon, you drop into the river to cross toward the far bank, moving slowly with your legs sweeping in long, steady pulls beneath you. Then something hits you from below. The impact lifts your body halfway out of the water and rolls you onto your side, and before you right yourself, a second strike drives into your underside, and the force of it spins you completely over. A bull shark, a large one, has followed the flood current up from the river mouth and into your stretch of water, and it hits you a third time before you get your legs back under you. It gets one coil around your neck and one around your front right leg before you can turn, and you drop onto your side with the weight of it, but your back legs stay in the water, and when you try to pull yourself further up the bank, they don't follow. You lie there with your front half on the mud and your back half in the current, and the water moves around you. A few smaller crocodiles appear on the far bank and watch from a distance. The river keeps moving. Then your front legs slow down.